Hey, what's up people? Tony here, and welcome back to TTBurger Game Reviews. And today I present you all with episode 119 of my game reviews and stuff. And those of you who've been following my videos lately know that the last couple episodes I was looking at game series by Namco and stuff like Ridge Racer and Pac-Man and stuff. But today I'm going to switch gears and review something by a totally different company. And I want to talk about the point-and-click adventure genre and stuff. Now, point-and-click adventure games need no introduction. Back in the day, they were very popular, especially in the 90s and stuff, where you had a bunch of them for like the PC, PlayStation, and more. The PlayStation here had its own library of point-and-click adventure games, like mainly the Clock Tower series and stuff, and more. But today, for this episode, I'm going to talk about the series that pretty much popularized on the point-and-click adventure genre, and it was the very first CD-ROM game I ever got when we got our first CD-ROM computer in 1994, and that is the Myst series. And Myst was like very fascinating for its time, and like when it came out, we saw nothing like it, and we were amazed on how innovative and fun it was. And this video will be divided up into 3 parts. Part 1, we're going to look at the original Myst. Part 2, we're going to look at Riven, the sequel to Myst, and finally for Part 3, we're going to look at Myst 3 Exile. Now we're going to be looking at the console versions here of these games, because I don't really PC game much, and I only have the only way I can play these like the PlayStation 2. So I'm just saying right now that these ports here have some problems compared to the original PC version stuff, but they're still good in their own way. But just stuff, I will be taking some points off for like certain problems that these versions have. But so just bear with me here. But to get started here, we're going to be taking a look at the original Myst for the PlayStation. It was first released in 1993 for the PC, and 3 years later it came to the PlayStation and Sega Saturn. And I should also mention here, this game can also be played with the PlayStation mouse controller that's used for like point-and-click games like Clock Tower and Broken Sword and stuff. I had to mention Broken Sword there. And if you can find this thing, it's definitely worth checking out, but because I have no way to hook it up when recording footage, I use the controller and stuff. But without further ado, let's get started with talking about the original Myst by Cyan Studios by Rand and Robin Miller. Now, when Myst first came out, Rand and Robin Miller had the idea of creating a game where you can't die and you explore these beautiful, vast-looking, colorful worlds and stuff like that by trying to figure out what to do and solve puzzles and more. And in reality, it worked really well. Of course, these games come with their faults and stuff, which we'll talk about later, but I'm mainly talking about the problems that are with the PlayStation version, because it's the only version I have at the moment and stuff. But what is there to say about the PlayStation version? Well, we'll talk about that as time goes on, but let's get started talking about the story. Now, the story here is actually really interesting, and it works really well. You play as the stranger, and you stumble upon this book titled Myst, and the last page has a moving picture in it. When you touch it, you're swooped into the island of Myst, and you find yourself on a boat dock with a sunken ship, and a door that leads to a passageway to a dimensional imager 4-chamber and stuff. And now you don't know what to do or how you got there, so you have no choice to explore the island and solve the mysteries of the Age of Myst. Along the way, you come across a note to a woman named Catherine, signed by a guy named Atris. They left a message of utmost and most importance in their 4-chamber, and to view the message, you must find all the marker switches and enter it, and you find out that there was a problem because the message says he must leave quickly because something terrible has happened, because in his library, most of his books have been destroyed, and he thinks it's one of their sons. And he's moved the remaining undamaged books from the library and placed them in the safe places of protection. And along the way, you come across the library with the burned books on the shelf, and there's a red and blue book by the side, and when you put the pages in there, you see 2 men in them, and they're telling you must find 5 red pages or 5 blue pages and stuff, red and blue books to rescue them and stuff. And the pages are found in the remaining ages that you must explore and discover and more. And I'm not telling you any more about the story because I don't want to spoil it, because I think I spoiled enough as it is. So I'm just saying here that that's what I gotta say about the story. All I can say about the story is that it's great and mysterious and it works in its own way. Now let's get into the presentation here. The game's graphics are good for the most part, but the game has not really aged great when it comes to graphics and stuff. And I'll admit right now the PC version had good graphics, and so does the PlayStation version, but there are some technical problems here and there and stuff that I do have to complain about. Like when you see the character, the live actors in the cutscenes look very blurry and just have jerky animations and stuff like that, like meaty files and stuff, which a lot of people have mentioned there and stuff. And one of my main complaint here is that, like, in the PlayStation version, for some reason, the screen is shrunk down more than it was in the other versions for some reason. I have no idea why, but I zoomed it in to get rid of those annoying black edges and stuff. And here, I'll show you what it looks like without me zooming it in. It's still a good looking game though, but just that, why do they have to have it zoomed like that with all those black bars and stuff? It doesn't make any sense. You're just viewing slideshow images and stuff for the most part. But the worlds you explore are nice and colorful, and the still images look great, like you're actually there, and it's just very, very great looking, and just aside from those problems. Now we gotta talk about the sound here. The sound is fantastic for the most part. You got excellent music, which I actually enjoy listening to the soundtrack of Myst on YouTube and stuff, and it's really, really good. Like, I don't have a favorite song from the game. I like a lot of the songs, so I can't really say which one's my favorite. But you also have excellent atmospheric sounds as well, like the wind blowing in the background, and like you hear water and stuff. While it does kind of loop a little too constantly, it's pretty much all they could do for 1993 standards at the time and stuff. But the problem with the sound is that, like, there are some sound effects that are either missing or replaced in the PlayStation version, and I don't know why they had to replace other sounds and sounds were missing, which I can understand they tried their best here, but it just could have been a little bit better. The voice acting is great, although Akinar is like one of the sons, Akinar. He sounds very hokey and stuff, but then again, it does give him character is a thing. It does give him character, and that's all that matters. For the most part, sound is great, aside from those problems. Now let's get into the gameplay here, and the gameplay for the most part is really good. Like I said, this is a point-and-click adventure game, and your main goal is to explore the ages and solve puzzles to help you retrieve the red and blue pages and to link you to each age and stuff, and just spend time getting the pages to free either Sirius or Akinar. You also spend time reading books to learn about the ages and help you solve puzzles that get you to the ages, or puzzles that are in the age itself. You will also need to take notes to help you solve the puzzles, and if you try to memorize them, it'll be kind of hard and stuff. So it's good that you take notes to remember certain things of what to do for the puzzles and stuff, because, like I said, memorizing them would just be a big chore, definitely. Now, a lot of people didn't like this game because of this, because you had to take notes and stuff to help solve puzzles. But in Myst, there's no rushing through it and stuff. Patience is the key here, and that's what you need. You need to have patience in this game to enjoy it. You can't just rush through it and just expect it to hold your hand and stuff. You need to, like, be patient and solve the puzzles and stuff. There are no enemies in this game. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted the game where you couldn't die in it and stuff. You have to solve puzzles to get to where you need to go to complete the game. You have 4 different ages that you go through and stuff, and they're all very different from each other. Like, you got Stone Ship Age, which is basically involves a ship that got broken in half when it got embedded with a rock in the age. You got Mechanical Age, which involves a rotating fortress that rotates when you command it to. You got Channel Age, which is the home of the tree people, which is like everything is made out of wood and stuff. And you got the Selenetic Age, which is my least favorite because it's basically a bland, boring age, and it's not that much fun. Because, like, it just you basically solve puzzles that involve sound, and some of them can be very, very tricky to figure out and are very difficult. And that is one of the problems here that I have with the game, is that some of these puzzles are very, very, very difficult and stuff. Without the guidebook and stuff like that, or like without a good ear to listen to, like, for the sound puzzles, you're gonna be frustrated here. But they are beatable, and that's what it is. They are beatable and stuff. But my favorite age in Myst is the Stone Ship Age, and this age started my love for shipwreck levels and stuff, and video games totally and stuff, definitely. So I gotta give it props here for Rand Robin Miller for creating the Stone Ship Age, because this is my favorite age and stuff, and how you go inside the rock, you can climb up to view the telescope, and go into the lighthouse and stuff, and just feel like you're actually there on this broken in half ship and stuff. And it is a fun game, definitely, but now I gotta talk about the downsides. The load times from one scene to the next can be a bit long, and like sometimes they'll take like a good 10 seconds or so, maybe a little bit longer, depending on where you're at. Sometimes the game will freeze, but this is very rare, and I might mention some of the puzzles can be very difficult if you don't have the guidebook or so, and that'll come in handy. So be sure you have the guidebook, because it is worth it, definitely. Because those of you who don't like taking notes, then use the guidebook, because the guidebook, I even used the guidebook too and stuff, so the first time. And sound effects, like I said, are missing, like I mentioned before, along with a shrunk down screen, but still, it's still a great game. It's especially good PlayStation support here and stuff, definitely. So my final thoughts are, pick it up. Pick up this game. The PlayStation version is the easiest one to find because it may be a little expensive, but it's nowhere near as expensive as like the Saturn version and stuff and such. They also have this game on the DS and the 3DS, but they're not worth it. And you want more about it, go look up reviews and stuff because believe me, they're not worth it. If you can find the PC version, you have a great PC to run it, then get the PC version. But if you can't, then just stick with the PlayStation version because the PlayStation version is the easiest one to find. So my final verdict here goes like this: pick the game up, it's worth it. And if you have a PlayStation mouse controller, use the mouse to play it as well because, like I mentioned, it could be a little bit clunky for people who use the controller, but I was perfectly fine with using the controller. But those of you who want to experience Myst for the first time and never played it before, I definitely recommend you picking it up because it's worth it to explore these vast, colorful worlds. Due to the complaints I have with the game, it will not be getting a perfect 10, but the score I'll be giving it is probably a 7 out of 10 because of the problems I have with the PlayStation version. It's still a good game, it's just that with those problems and it not aging really well, I definitely had to take some points off there. And that's pretty much all I gotta say for episode 119 part 1. Stay tuned for part 2, we're gonna look at Ribbon, the sequel to Myst, released in 1997. How does this game fare from the original Myst? Well, find out in episode 119 part 2. That's pretty much all I gotta say. This is Tony, peace out, and have a great day everybody.